Share time, Chair, just 4 minutes on one.
Sure, yeah, 4 on 1, yeah, no problem.
Can I just say that I am very glad that the appointment to the Gsoc Commission has finally been made. I'm glad we're not going into the recess without that happening. I have to say that the gap has been far too long since the retirement of Simon O'Brien. I feel the commissioners have suffered in his absence. I do think that the time when he was at the helm of Gsoc was in some ways some of the most innovative and important times in putting that organisation on the map, and I firmly believe that they suffered since he's gone. That said, I don't know much about Justice Mary Ellen Ring apart from maybe what would generally be in the public domain. In some ways it might be viewed as an unusual choice. The Justice has a high profile, but I do know that she is renowned for her independence, which I think is an incredibly important asset in this body and this, I don't know, cesspit or whatever that she's going in to challenge, we'll call it, to be polite. And I think independence is what is required, because the last thing, and I believe from people who would know her, that she's very able, very much an independent thinker, and somebody who is much more likely to be a watchdog than a lapdog. And that is absolutely what we need inside this organisation. And from that point of view, I very much wish her well in her new post. I suppose in some ways I'd feel a little bit sorry for her in terms of what is she getting into no more than the other commissioners, because I do believe that Gsoc is at a crisis point at the moment. They have not been armed with the legislative powers to do the job of oversight of An Garda Síochána that is necessary. I think Ms Justice Ring will benefit from the fact of her expertise on both sides of the criminal justice system is going to stand to her. She's not going to need to be educated on what can happen when Gardaí take the stands or how sometimes the Gardaí can operate. So I think that that is a plus. But I do think she's heading up an organisation which is suffering from lack of resources and from critically lack of power. And particularly given that this organisation has also been charged with the function of confidential recipient now, and it is the receiver of complaints not just from the public about the Gardaí, but from the Gardaí about other Gardaí. And the annual report, which was published recently, shows that only 4 Gardaí have gone to Gsoc. I'd have to say, of those complaints, they have been very tardy in their approach in dealing with those people, which is absolutely regrettable. And I'd suggest that her first job is to give backing and support to those Gardaí who have the courage to blow the whistle on the inside. I would be worried looking at the figures in the annual report, Gsoc annual report. I mean, the reality is that of the initial contact with those offices that was made with Gsoc, only 28% of that actually becomes a complaint at the end of the day. And out of that, I think Gsoc say there was only one case in 2014 at which a criminal investigation was concluded and referred to the DPP, where the DPP recommended a prosecution out of thousands of cases. This couldn't possibly be the case. We have a huge problem with these statistics. I think only 26 files were sent to the DPP. The overwhelming majority of the cases that end up in Gsoc are referred back to the Gardaí for examination and not independently evaluated by Gsoc. I think these issues will come back to haunt us. We're on the record already in terms of the necessity to strengthen the legislative powers of Gsoc, but I think the new Commissioner is going to have to bat hard on those things, because she has a very much uphill battle. But I obviously wish her well in that task, and if there's anything we can do to assist, we will obviously be happy to do so.